Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the agents of Shadespire.
Ooh, we've gone back in time.
Going back in time. No, we're not doing that.
We're not Huey Lewis and the
No,
News.
we're not. We want to do a
Don't
little
take
video.
money!
Don't it? No, anyway. We want to do a video about Shadespire. We're seven boxes in now, or something like that.
I've lost count.
Many boxes in. And
200 years ago, this game came out.
And when we recorded this, before we recorded this video, we just played a season 1 mashup between Scritch and Severin Steelheart's Champions.
Somebody actually requested this on one of our live streams.
They did.
Well, suggested it rather than requested it, but I'm really sorry, I can't remember who it was now, which one of our many tens of followers. Thank you very much. I think it's a really neat idea. So we're basically going to do a little series of each warband.
Well, not series, each season.
Sorry, not warband. A little series of each season. We're starting with Shadespire because that's where it all began.
That's where it's all started.
Just over 5 years ago.
Just over 5 years ago, and
we got a little box through the post, or I got a little box through the post. It was Shadespire. It looked really quite good. I think you were quite disheartened by it.
I wasn't, I was actually, when it first tried, I was like, okay, we'll play a couple of games of this, but let's get back to Age of Sigmar.
But this game immediately captured our attention, and probably more importantly, captured our viewers' attention, and suddenly lots of people were watching and interested in the game. I think you've watched it more recently than I have, but we played it pretty much entirely wrong in the first game.
Yeah. I think in one of the things we were doing, like I rolled like an attack and I rolled 3 dice and got 2 successes, and you rolled no defense successes. So I was like, oh well, I got 2 successes and I do 3 damage on each hit, so I've done 6 damage to you. So
that's how games used to work.
So I've just one-shot Severin. Brilliant. It was like, I'm not sure we played that right.
But it was really fun and quick to play, and which you know if you've been following us, that we fell in love with the game. And just looking at this now, it just looks aces.
It does look absolutely fantastic. We'll flash up images of the warbands we painted as we're going along. Some of them have taken a bit of battle damage over the time, but for 5 years old, I've noticed that the Champignon has lost his greatsword. But we just want to talk a little bit about each of the warbands for anybody out there who wasn't around. Not that you weren't born, but just weren't playing the game. For all our 4-year-old followers, we just want to talk a little bit about each of the warbands, anything that they brought to the game at that point. Just relive a little bit of it ourselves and talk about the bits we really enjoyed. And at home, please do, as always, like and subscribe and ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what are your favourite warbands. What do you remember about when
Or if you've never played, who would you love to play?
Yes.
Which warband would you love to play?
What were you doing when you first saw it played? What were you doing when you first saw our channel play it, even?
So the first 2 came in the core box, Garrick's Reavers and Severin Steelhearts. Kind of naturally fell out. You took the Khorne guys, and I took the sort of loosely Empire-based Stormcast. I think because that's how we landed. Yeah,
and it was funny because I'm not a massive Khorne fan, so I was like, I guess I'll play these ones then. I have some really fond memories of these guys, and they're not actually painted too badly.
I actually really like. I grew to enjoy playing. I haven't played them that much, but they're just, even now, they're just really good fun to play. I had recently got back into painting, and I tried really hard on these to try and. If you remember, the lore of the Shadespire was that it was sort of locked into this sort of trapped underground
cursed city, by Nagash.
Been there forever, and so they were just reiterations of stuff. So I tried to make them look like they've been there for a long time, and I really, even now, they look pretty good. In fact, I'm both pleased at how good they look, and then a bit disappointed that actually I haven't got that much better in time.
That your painting hasn't gone any further on. Going through the warbands themselves, we didn't know it at the time, but Severin's Champions were the archetypical 3-fighter, all business and action sort of warband that they were just the classics, storm in and mash people's brains up.
And I, at this point, had no experience of this type of game. And people were saying it's like X-Wing. So you buy your models, you get your cards, and then and then soon people were saying, oh, I need to buy this pack because it has this particular card, and that was complete anathema to me. I had no idea how deck building worked, no idea how these games worked. So I think I was pretty naive when we first started, and I didn't really look at. Almost took cards because I like the picture on them more, or I like the name of it. It was only like the Shade Glass Dagger I didn't even look at, because I thought it's a dagger. It can't be as good as a Shade Glass Sword. No, and actually, if I had read the rules properly, the Shade Glass Dagger was probably one of the best cards in this entire season. Yeah,
it was one of the first cards to get restricted. Garrick's lads, I still enjoy playing them now because they're a nice, balanced 5-fighter warband. They're fast, they're brittle, but they can get quite punchy if they want to, and they're just a nice classic warband. They've got a few little fun things going on there.
They've got a lot of card draw, haven't they?
They do have quite a bit of
hard to come by.
Yeah, quite a bit of card draw tech, as it turns out in the end, and also the ability to get lots of extra dice when making attacks and things, which is also great to improve your accuracy. The thing I liked about them after we played them for a while is their inspire mechanic is also quite good. It's like, as long as 3 people are dead, they'll inspire. So there was no reliance on dice at all, really.
Yeah,
even if they were yours.
Incredibly frustrating.
Yeah,
and in fact, there was a bit of a negative player experience with Severance because if you rolled a crit or a shield, then you inspired. And if you didn't, you not only took a load of damage, you also didn't inspire.
Yeah.
So it was quite like, oh, I'm not inspired, and I'm actually halfway to being dead.
Yeah.
Whereas at Garrick's, at least, you were like, well, I've lost a fighter. And it was probably Arnold or the Dangle Bros.
One of the Dangle Bros, one of the Truckle Brothers.
So next up, I think the next release was for the Sepulchral Guard.
It was the Sepulchral Guard.
Did they release simultaneously with the Orcs?
Yeah, I think this is back in the day when GW, for the first 2-3 seasons, they released 2 warbands at a time. Yeah. So yeah, the next up were the Sepulchral Guard and the Orcs. Now, let's talk about the Orcs first, I think.
That's fine. I was going to talk about the Sepulchral Guard first. But only because the Sepulchral Guard, controversially, were the winners of the first ever Grand Clash.
And they had come out that day.
They come out that day, but it was won by a
playtester.
A stinky playtester.
Not only a playtester, but an employee of GW at the same time.
Yeah,
he didn't even have paint on the models.
No, which was fine because you didn't have to have them painted.
No, but you'd expect at least that. But yeah, they won it. They came out on that day and they won it, you know.
And then thus began a long history of stinky playtesters winning tournaments.
Playtesters.
Gloss over that.
Sepulchral Guard, the minute I knew they were coming, I wanted them because I love skellies. And they're all so really flavourful. Even the chafe in the unit, the petitioners,
Mr. Furcoat,
Mr. Furcoat, Mr. Crawley out the ground, and Mr. Dramatic Pose. Still
T-shirts are available.
They are
in the shop.
Yes, do check it out below. There was the Prince of Dust. Got any dust? There was the
champignon.
And the champignon. You know, none of the warbands in the latest season get nicknames anymore because we didn't play them half as much. No. But I loved all the models. The poses were lovely, and they were the first warband to bring up the bringing fighters back from the dead mechanic and the ability to activate multiple fighters in one go mechanic.
And they had 7 fighters, of course, using up all of the starting hexes on a board.
Blew our tiny minds.
Yeah.
Back then, when we only had like 3 and 5 fighter
They were
warbands.
pretty hard to win with, though, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you tried and tried and tried, but they were pretty hard. The Orcs, I think I had an affinity with the Orcs. I'm not sure why. I really enjoyed my paint job for these. I decided I was going to paint them all different colours, so I quite enjoyed it.
It's a theme you'll see later on in this season.
And I used my crackle paint to do that. Well, I kind of wanted.
You also used the chipping paint on this, didn't you?
chipping paint on this one. Yeah, I kind of wanted to use different colours to make them easier to see who was who on the tabletop, because they are quite similar as well, especially Basher and Chopper. Hacker, not Chopper, so that's how long it is since I played them. They had an Inspire mechanic, which has kind of been done in now, because they have to Inspire when they take damage, but you used to be able to damage them. In Shadespire, there wasn't many ways to damage them before you actually got the attack off. But now that they have, if they run through a lethal hex or something, they don't inspire until after they've had the attack.
Yeah, there was a little window in Nightfall where there were lethal hexes had arrived. Yeah. So you could charge through the lethal hex, inspire, and then slap someone with Gerzag.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no longer.
Gerzag was 5 wounds as well. He was the first 5 wound fighter in the game, and he got a reroll when he inspired. So he had like double special on there. But the rest of the fighters were a little bit.
Yeah, they were very underpowered, but they did have cunning but brutal and brutal but cunning.
They did.
Which basically allowed you to make extra attacks.
You could either make a move after attacking or you could make an attack after moving.
Yeah.
Which was quite big in the game.
Those cards, they came out at the right time. In fact, success with these was reliant on when those cards came out.
Yeah.
Because they massively increased your efficiency.
Yeah.
Shout out here to Tim, Orc Tim, one of our supporters who's been playing Orc since the very beginning. Yep. He made the most crazy decks during those early seasons of
with like 26 and 30 cards or whatever.
26 power cards, but he used to win pretty regularly or place very high at tournaments, so well done, Tim. Yes. I did enjoy the Orcs. Next was the Chosen Axes and Scritchy's Swarm, which you were very excited. The Spike Claw Swarm, you were very excited about.
I was very excited.
If the Sepulchral Guard had got you moist, and the Scritch had just
positively gushing at that point. And again, the Skaven models, I really enjoyed painting them. Looking back now, I think I could do a better job on them, but they were fun to paint and they were just amazing poses again.
They were, except what is the one thing about the poses that just drives you potty? Kirk.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's not so much a pose. It's just the fact that his weapon only has a range of 1.
He can't play the game with this game without mentioning that.
No, it just annoys me. It just annoys me. There are other fighters with smaller weapons that have a range of 2, and I'm sticking to that. But anyway, I love the models. I've been a long time Skaven fan.
Yeah, when I barely played them because I wasn't allowed.
No, not as
mine.
mine.
They have absolutely terrifying mechanics.
They've got some great speed on them as well.
Yeah.
They had the Inspire mechanic, which was to play ploys on people, and we were trying to guess what their mechanics might be for ages. And then it came out with that, and we were like, oh my God, they're so easy to inspire.
Yeah. And they could force you into making suboptimal decisions.
Yes, because you're like,
yeah.
Do I want to do this because I'm going to inspire that fighter if I play distraction on them or confusion and stuff like that?
But they were terrifying because you could bring them back, so they had great economy of upgrades as well.
Yes.
Because unlike, say, the Sepulchral Guard, although you could bring those back, but they're much easier to bring back. And you could bring them back on any starting.
Yes, that was the other, oh my God, moment where it was like, they can come back anywhere.
Yeah, which again is beautifully thematic.
Yeah,
and was terrifying, and they did have good success at tournaments because with upgrades like the Shade Glass Dagger and things, they could really, I mean, okay, that broke after you used it once, but they could do absolute mischief.
Especially the Hungering Skaven with his upgrade Black Hunger, so he could hit everybody. If you gave him like one of the great strengths and something else, he could be doing like 3 or 4 damage and hitting everybody. It could have been absolutely
and
horrific.
They could get to. There was a style of play with Steelheart of sitting at the back. And kind of keeping out of the way, they could reach because many of the other warbands couldn't reach them until almost to the end of the game, and they were strong. The Chosen Axes, I think, is the warband everybody loves to try and do well with, and I know there have been a few people, particularly in the US, who have been successful with them, but they were really hard to play because their Inspire mechanic was that they had to be on an objective at the end of the.
They had to be holding an objective at the end of the round, and they only had moves of 2.
They only had moves of 2, yeah.
Poor little stubby legs.
So if your objectives were out the way, if you were longboarded or your objectives weren't in the right place, at best you were going to inspire. Well, you might inspire 3 if you were super lucky.
Yeah.
But at best it was 2. But because GW didn't think that was hard enough, they brought out cards like Great Concussion and Earthquake.
God! Standing on objectives, are you?
Nope. Yeah, both of those cards basically moved. I think one of them.
Great Concussion, you picked a point and everyone moved away from it.
Yeah.
Earthquake just shifted everybody in the same direction.
And so, trying to inspire the Chosen Axes was really hard. But if you could, they were absolutely monstrous.
Tefk and Crazy Fuel.
Yeah, Tef was 3 hammers, 3 damage.
I think he was 3 hammers, 3 damage when he inspired, and Crazy Fuel went up to 4 damage or something like that, and he was like the only 4 damage based fighter in the game. He gave Gerzag worries, basically.
And even Mad Magrim, who was often overlooked, he had a reroll.
Yeah, which we continuously forgot.
Yeah, so he was pretty strong.
They had some really nice cards as well, because they had cards which enabled you to push fighters up to 3 hexes, which there hadn't been anything like that before.
To get treasure, to get on objectives. They did have some help.
They had some movement shenanigans.
But the problem was, you'd get it all in lined up, and then somebody just play Earthquake.
Yeah.
And so unless you somehow managed to have some cards.
It was a case of waiting until your opponent played Earthquake, and then you just went, bam, bam, and we played a game where you did that.
I did.
Where I did something like that, and then you played about 3 power cards, and managed to get 3 of your dwarves back onto objectives.
I've never ever played anything so well since.
I was absolutely dumbfounded.
Underworlds.
But everyone loves the dwarves.
Everybody loves them. There's still crazy people out there trying to play them, but I think they are possibly the worst warband ever existed. Possibly, certainly in the Shadespire.
We also haven't covered your paint job of them, because again you stuck with the different colours on each one, and they look fantastic.
Yeah, and you know what? I realised when I was sticking, because one of them got broken, I was sticking them back together, and the bases edges weren't painted, so I was painting them up for this video. I realised that they're not finished. There's just a couple of there's like a bit of pink on there that's not done, and there's no the runes in the bases haven't been painted.
Oh yeah, and
I haven't dry brushed the skeletons. I'm pointing.
What half a job?
I never finished, but I think that's because we were running so far behind. Because painting back in those days was much harder. I had a lot less time, and a lot less space to do it in. I think we were running so far behind that by the time I was painting them, we realised that they were terrible and we didn't play them very often.
Yeah.
One other curious thing about Shadespire, which they haven't done with any of the other seasons. Do you remember, Pete? There was a picture in the front of the book which had all the 8 warbands in. So we all knew. It
was the shattered shade glass that had all the factions in it.
What all the factions were going to be. So we knew we were getting...
And it had descriptions about them as well, didn't it? Yeah.
We were going to get yet more...
Stormcast,
and we were going to get Magore's Feed, or we didn't know we were going to get more. We knew we were going to get another Khorne Warband. And I was a bit like, why can't we have something different? But, you know, they came... And
they saw, and in Magore's case,
I don't know why they decided not to do that, because I suppose it's hype, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, I always liked it. Was quite nice knowing what was coming.
I like that, but I think, like you say, it's a bit of hypes, and GW have got very good at the hype train. So I think that they really, really do pump that up. So, but yeah, we had Magore's and we had the Farstriders. Farstriders were another Stormcast warband.
Yeah, but they had bows.
They had like electric lightning machine gun crossbow things.
Well, they were the first range 3 attacks other than
the upgrade, and shade glass darts. They were the first range 3 fighters.
Yeah,
and everyone was amazed by them to start with. I think realised after a very short period they were terrible.
They had their moments, but they were pretty bad.
They had the problem that they didn't move very fast. There was 3 of them, but they had to get into your opponent's territory.
Yeah, that was their inspire condition, must have been in your opponent's territory.
Which, when you've got range 3 weapons, the last thing you want to do is go running up to your opponent.
I mean, they even had a range 4. Didn't the bird go to range 4? Did he not?
Oh, might have done, yeah.
Remember. He did something, and he certainly got grievous effectively.
Yeah, he got extra damage on a crit.
Yeah.
Now, they were solid fighters in their own right, and they had some monstrous upgrades as well that made them really tasty. So I think a lot of people just played them as run up and smash people in the face kind of fighters.
Or I don't think they inspired... I think
it wasn't until the end of the round.
People didn't try that hard to inspire them either. They just basically upgrade them.
But they did get 2 shields when they inspired, so that does make you tough. And going back to the Dwarves, they only ever got 1 shield, so they were actually still quite squishy. Yeah,
especially as Cleave was definitely a thing.
Yeah.
And Ensnare wasn't.
No, Ensnare didn't exist at the time.
So you'd be like, well, Scritch with his 2 dodge is actually better than quite a lot of even 2 shield warbands, but certainly 1 shield warband.
Yeah, especially when you had things like, was it acrobatic, which gave you an extra dodge dice, an extra defense dice if you rolled dodge and stuff my Scritch is on 3 dodge now.
Yeah, I forgot acrobatic.
Yeah.
And the final one, Magore's, still solid. You pasted me the other day with Magore's.
Magore's seen some good performance, especially in the Bugman's events that they've been running up at Warhammer World. So I think they're just a good, solid warband.
They've always been solid. They've got 4 decent fighters, which gives them 1 more on the Stormcast warband.
Yeah.
They've got a bit of dodge going on with the dog, and he can be really beefed up quite nicely.
Yes.
So you've got multiple things to worry about in when playing Magore's.
Yeah.
And they can't be pushed. Not that you hold objectives with them. They've got a bit of card draw tech, and they have got one of them at least can fight back when you're fighting them.
Two of them can. If you hit them and they don't do damage, then both of the sort of the lesser Khorne warriors can fight back, and the dog as well the dog actually has quite a few dog-specific upgrades, but that could make it quite terrifying. I think they were the first warband that had a 2 glory surge card, which was if the dog takes the leader out of action. Oh. Now, we didn't paint this warband. This was actually painted by one of our Patreon supporters at the time, from all the way over in America lands.
Yes, Brandon. Thanks, Brandon. I hope you still watch. Do comment below if you do.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. He painted these and a few other warbands in Season 2 that we will come on to in the next video that we do of these.
By the end of the season, I was so hyped. In love with the game. Yeah,
really hyped for it.
I just was really excited for Nightbolt. But again, it took me a while to get into this idea of a collectible card game and just how seriously and competitively people would take it.
We never took it anywhere near as seriously as everybody else.
No, I did do a couple of videos back in the day about the maths of it and things. But actually, it's very amateurish now. The game was just really, really fun to play, and we do have a few favourite cards.
Yes, there was definitely a few standouts from the season. I think probably the most famous card for us would be Ready for Action,
which I do miss.
Yeah, I do miss that.
Yeah, I mean that was a bloody good card as well, which is why we got to say
card.
Ready for Action so often, because we both have it in our deck.
You would always take that card. Anybody who chose not to take that of their own free will needed help.
Exactly.
Frankly.
Yeah, I mean, everybody.
For anybody who didn't know, it was a card, an upgrade. No, it was a ploy. It was a ploy, wasn't it? That when you played an upgrade, you could then
played Ready for Action.
And then you could either move or attack again. So generally what you would do is you'd get a glory and you'd have a fight and you'd have some kind of weapon upgrade or great strength. You'd charge and you'd attack, and then you'd play Ready for Action! And then you'd attack them again, and usually that would be enough to two-shot most people, unless you were me, in which case you would miss both attacks. Not that I'm bitter about.
Or if you were really lucky, you kill two people, because there are two people standing next to each other. Yeah. Absolutely brutal card.
Absolutely brutal.
Another good card was Shade Glass Dagger,
yes,
which we've talked about already a lot. It was a really powerful. It was like 3 swords, 3 damage, but it did an extra damage on a crit.
If you crit, yeah.
It was absolutely monstrous.
Horrific. Absolutely horrific.
It broke after that and you couldn't use it, but it was absolutely monstrous.
Absolutely horrific.
A card I know divides opinion was Escalation. That's a defining card of the game for me. Escalation, basically, if 3 upgrades were played in that round by either player, 3 total, then you score 2 glory.
It was, It was almost an auto-include. Yeah, it was an auto-include, because even if you were doing crap and your opponent was absolutely pasting you, you knew you were going to get 2 glory because they would have played loads of upgrades.
Well, exactly. 2 glory, suddenly, that could mean you could have the Shade Glass Dagger and put it on somebody, kill somebody with it, put another upgrade on, play Ready for Action! Kill somebody else. So, I mean, it absolutely, that 2 glory was absolutely vital.
It was crazy. There were so many mainstay cards that, like Great Fortitude, Great Strength, Supremacy, all those kind of cards that started the game and have stuck with it for so long. It is sometimes a shame now in Nullwood to not have a great strength and not have a great fortitude.
Oh, I don't think it is. They were far too overpowered.
They were overpowered.
You can't moan about the game having the Essentials pack that has those cards in it and then moan that they're not in it.
Yes.
I'm not
every now and
allow it.
Every now and then you just get that kind of I wish I could just...
Well, if you play Championship, you could.
I must
because they're illegal.
Looking at these warbands, I am filled with a sense of revulsion. No.
Happiness. Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, that's the word. There's just a real nostalgia here, and just remembering freezing to death in your garage. Playing games.
In the garage.
He's playing the garage in like 2-degree temperatures with coats and scarves and gloves on and absolute silliness like that. And we really had fun a lot of the time.
We did. Well, I guess that's why we're here. Still
here. But such an amazing space now.
The game has improved massively since Shadespire. The card wording was all over the place. One thing we didn't mention was at some point during the Shadespire season we got our first far list.
We did,
absolute consternation.
People were like, what's going on?
And people were moaning about it. Some people presumably had more experience.
People were burning their cards.
Exactly. People were saying
they were throwing their models in the bin. It wasn't that bad. But people were like, what is this?
Why are they doing this? And other people were saying it's really important for the game. And actually, it is really important for the game.
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand quite how important it was. And it clearly is important. But yeah, of course, there was a crazy card, Time Trap. We didn't talk about Time Trap. Which is like one of the worst worded cards ever. And then they FAQ'd it and made it even better, or worse.
Yeah, and then they just banned it. And they banned Great Impact, Great Concussion. I think they banned that one. Yeah. And there were some other cards in that were just, I mean, look back at me, like, I would kill to have that kind of card in the game. Well,
the one we all want is Ready for Action, which was restricted. So yeah, basically we all know how the file list works. So that came in, and then the game went on strength to strength. I think when they we'll talk about it, but they brought out Night Vault. They tinkered with the rules a little bit, and they kind of set that pattern
added some bits in,
set for changing. And they obviously learned from Shadespire. There was a bit of woolly wording.
Yes,
a lot of people finding those crevices and putting the crowbars in to make
really ratcheting them open.
Yeah, but at the core of it was this wonderfully well-designed game that was unlike anything GW had done before, in my experience of them.
And unlike anything I'd ever played before, which is, I think, part of why I looked at the game originally and went, I don't like this. It's different, and I don't like different.
Community's not massive compared with their other games, but it's loyal. And we've met some lovely people through playing it when we've gone to Grand Clashes and obviously through our channel. So thank you for watching us play this. And thank you to DW for making this, and kind of it did rekindle all of this around us, all these the space and the games and the painting. It rekindled all of it. Just down to Underworlds, really.
I think so. Yeah, I think without Underworlds, we might not be where we are right now.
Well, I can't see that we'd have
I might be sitting there.
I can't see we'd have carried on playing Age of Sigmar because it was just too big and took too long. When I used to come to your house sometimes, and presumably when you came here, we'd get home at 2 a.m.
Yeah, be playing till 1 o'clock in the morning, so then you had to pack up and all that kind of stuff. So
I'm not sure we ever would have got there without Underworlds. So thank you, Underworlds.
Yeah, and then we saw this game. We're like, we could get 2 games in a couple of hours. No, we can't.
We could, but we don't because we talk too much.
No.
As you probably noticed, because this video is probably half an hour long now.
Yeah.
Okay then, Pete, before we wrap up...
Last thing on the menu.
Favourite warband from the Shadespire era?
Oh, God. This is actually really tough for me because we spent a lot of time with these. Yeah. We spent a lot of games with these guys. And
are we agreed are we agreed that the Chosen Axes are the worst?
They're the worst. Yeah, they are definitely bottom of the pile. Yeah. Despite how much I might have some affection for them. Yeah.
See, I know you must be really. I think three-way tie, isn't it, for you?
It is almost a 3-way tie between Sepulchral Guard, Garrix, and Scritch. But I think I'll go Garrick because I think he still holds up now.
Yeah, fair enough. You know,
for you, what would your top one be?
Well, actually, we played, before recording this video, we played the game where I played Severed Stillheart, so I have quite a soft spot for them. because they were very simple and fun to play.
But they're also very effective.
But they are a bit boring.
Yeah.
They're a bit boring. Their playstyle can be a bit boring, and they did make the most boring playstyle ever.
Yes, they did.
We completely forgot to mention those.
Yeah. The relic. Was it relics? No, it wasn't relics. It was lost. I can't remember.
What were they called?
Let us know in the comments below. What was that?
I want to say it was relic. I think it was relic.
Maybe it was relics.
There were these Shadespire relic things, and it was really a nice idea. Actually, they had 6 cards across. Came out in the packs across things, and the more of them you put on, so they were like. I think there were greaves and breastplates and a helm,
stuff like that,
and the more you put on, the better they got. You got more and more abilities. But somebody worked out, some math head worked out that actually
not a meth head, a math head. They're worse.
Basically take as much card draw as you possibly could. We've got the video up there. I don't know if Pete you can find it and
I'll try and find it.
Put a link in. And basically, you just sat right at the back of the board, drew as many cards as you could, got the relics on, because when you had all 6 on, you could take an action,
which just gave you 4
glory. So
you just did that.
So they could ship sort of 32 glory in a game.
Watching our game with that reminded me of like Magic the Gathering games. Oh, okay. We just see people just doing lots of stuff and they're just
the cow.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a bit like that. So yeah, I forgot about those.
So yeah, that was a dark time for the game. And to be fair to GW, they did move quite quickly to arrest the problem.
Yes.
So for that reason, I'm not going to say that they were the best. Warband, and because they did allow a boring playstyle. So true. Obviously the best one therefore has to be Gurzag, because they were just really fun. Yeah, they were having a good time. I think it was one of their cards.
It was one of their cards. Yeah, having a good time. Yeah. They just they were a bit like Severin. They just wanted to get in and smash faces. But you had old Gurzag. He was a big lad.
He was a big lad, but they had a risk because you had to to inspire. You had to be injured.
Take damage. Yeah.
And so and they were just fun. And you had cards when you could attack again, but you could also. I used to love doing shade glass darts.
Oh yeah.
With the bruising but brutal cunning. So moving 3. Shooting and then moving again, or something like that. Charging, shooting, and then so getting onto an objective to try and score supremacy. Yep. Crazy shenanigans like that.
Oh yeah, stuff like that.
Good times, and I just can imagine this orc like in the film slow mo, and then running on. So that for me is why Gurzag and his boys. Yeah. My favourite.
Farstriders and Chosen Axes, I think, are both languishing near the bottom. They were both. Yeah. I like the ideas, but they just need a revamp now. I think something like that. Of course, we did get in the next season somebody that was even better at shooting, and we'll come on to those in the next video.
Entirely subjectively, my least favourite warband was Magore. I've barely played them, and I don't like the models, and I don't like the way they play. And
I'll admit, I'm not a massive fan of the models. Yeah. It's not the paint job, but the models themselves, the whole corn look, is not something that really attracts me.
No, which is a good thing, really.
Yeah.
Not what he's looking for in a partner.
But
darling,
like,
I've got nowhere to sit. I will make you a throne.
Do we have to have skulls again? God, we did that last time we decorated. I'll always have a soft spot for Scritch and the Sepulchral Guard, even though I think neither of them have aged particularly well.
No, well, particularly the Sepulchral Guard. I mean, look at them.
They've aged fantastically. They look just like they did 6 years ago. Still dead.
So that's it. That's Shadespire that kindled our love of Warhammer Underworlds and just this channel, really. So thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon.
So as always, do please like, subscribe, ring that bell, leave a comment below. What was your favourite warband? What was your favourite card? What was your favourite little trick combo?
Yeah, I mean, there were combos. Good combos in those days.
Combos are plenty better.
Let us know, say, if you've never played them, which warband you most would like to take out for a spin.
And also let us know when you first saw the game played, or when you first saw us playing the game.
Absolutely, and which your favourite Warhammer Underworlds channel is that's called Agents of Sigmar.
So we'll see you soon for Season 2.
Bye!